In terms of the stuff we're using, as you mentioned, we have different blends. So sometimes we're going to go with more of like a mastic gum, clove, berberine, wild indigo blend. These are things that can be both anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antifungal, antiparasitic. And then we have some where we've got a little bit of gut healing nutrients, like we might throw in a little bit of some DGL into the blend. So now we're doing two things at once, which is great. We're killing, but we're also soothing the gut lining, which is probably so irritated. As you mentioned, this thing is thinned out from the infection itself. And then we go into more of the antifungals too. So we may stack, if we see on the organic acids, you've got an antifungal need, then we'll throw that in too on top of the antimicrobial need. And that's where the magic really happens. There's a synergistic effect. So rarely are we going to come in with just oregano oil or just garlic. We're likely going to use a combination of possibly 5, 10, or even more herbs. And then if you want to comment on that, and then let's get into the question of like, where do probiotics fit into this equation? What about digestive enzymes and increasing stomach acid? Where does that fit into this equation? So if you want to hit on the herbs at all, then let's transition.
Okay, so first off, I think people come in with stomach issues saying, hey, I have an H. pylori issue, and that's it. So I think one, you have the right to have more than one infection or a gut imbalances happening at the same time. So it's really important. Don't get myopically focused on one infection. There's probably multiple issues. You could have H. pylori. You could have some level of bacterial overgrowth that involve other types of infections like Klebsiella or Pseudomonas or Citrobacter. You could have a fungal overgrowth. You could have a parasite infection as well. So all those things could be present. And also, you're probably going to have a lot of dyspepsia where you're having bloating, nausea, indigestion because you're not breaking down your foods adequately. So you're going to need to follow my 6 R's, right? Removing the bad foods. And again, that could be different for everyone. Some people that could be a paleo template. Others, that could be an autoimmune. It could be a low FODMAP template as well. It could be a low histamine. It could be a GAPS or SCD template. So there's different templates we're going to plug in depending on how sick or how chronic this issue is. And then number 2, we're working on enzymes and acids to really work on digesting things better. And again, acids tend to be antimicrobial. Also, bile acids, which are produced by your gallbladder, are also antimicrobial. So if you have biliary insufficiency, you're not breaking down your fats, inadequate levels of bile salts will create a more hospitable environment for bad bugs to grow. So that's the 2nd R, replace enzymes, acids, bile salts. 3rd R, repairing the gut lining and supporting the adrenals and the hormones, because the adrenals help really provide a good anti-inflammatory environment. So if you have imbalances in your cortisol function, you may have a lot of inflammation that's not being managed by your adrenals. And then, of course, on the repair side, you kind of hit it earlier. Some of the repair nutrients that we're going to use may be glycine, could be L-glutamine, it could be zinc. Zinc is very helpful. A lot of studies showing that to be very helpful with gut permeability. I would say DGL licorice, aloe, okra, vitamin A. These are really important nutrients that calm down the gut lining. Herbally, I also like ginger and Manuka honey. Manuka is used in hospitals in burn units because it's very anti-inflammatory. So I like a little bit of Manuka honey in my ginger juice tea recipe. It's wonderful. Any comments on that?
Yeah, that's delicious.